Okay, welcome to the first module of Indoor Soccer Officials Training. We'll be going over some general rules and expectations to further from the expectations video. First and foremost, as promised, this is the outline of our uniform that we will wear. So for indoor soccer, we use yellow stripes. And the big note with our stripes and our uniform is that the stripes need to be tucked into whatever pants or shorts that we are wearing that night. And those pants or shorts, either one is okay. The caveat with that is they need to be athletic and they need to be black. So we don't want you wearing black jeans or cargo shorts or anything like that. Those are not allowed. So any sort of black pants that are athletic in attire or shorts that are athletic and black, either of those will work. And then you will check out your stripes from the supervisor at the beginning of the shift. They will be there waiting for you, and that is how we do that. The check-in procedure, you'll see here our support assistants and our supervisors will primarily be responsible for this, but it's good for you to know as well. So each student, in order to play, must have a UNCW student ID, which they need that to get into the building anyways, so they should have that on them. Teams will check in outside of the MAC gym, which is our indoor soccer courts that you may have seen. They're in the back of the student recreation center. So they will check in outside. They will get their jerseys and stuff like that. The supervisors will give them, and then they will be let into the MAC gym for their game. What you all need to be doing, and your supervisors should be helping you with this as well, is checking the players for non-approved jewelry. So examples of this are Apple Watches, dangling earrings, or anything else that you or a supervisor may deem as unsafe. So just little studs are okay, and the little like Fitbit small plate watches are okay, but anything like an Apple Watch or with a bigger face is not allowed. So you'll just need to ask them to take that off. If they give you any grief about it, let your supervisor know, and they will be happy to help you with that. For pre-game management, first and foremost, especially at the beginning of the year, make sure that you go up, introduce yourself to your partner if you don't know them already, know what your partner's name is, as well as introduce yourself and get to know your supervisors and sport assistants. You all will act as a team throughout the night, so it's important that you are, one, know each other's names, and two, are able to interact and help each other with whatever y'all may need. And don't be afraid to ask questions. Our supervisors have all come up through the program in one way or another. They could have been a official for indoor soccer like yourself to begin with. They could have been a sport assistant, something like that. But they will be very knowledgeable about our procedures, how we do things. They should know the rules. They will all have iPads that have our list of rules on them. So they will be certainly helpful. So please don't be afraid to ask questions. And just to tie it all together, communication is key. Before the game, during the game, after the game, work together, be a good teammate, and yeah. Now to get into some indoor soccer rules. There's some more of the illegal equipment. So we talked about the dangerous jewelry. Other notes, no hats with brim. So anything with a hard brim is not allowed, as well as any sort of headband that has a knot in it. So you may see some people have do-rags, but if they have a knot on the back of their head or anywhere, no knots are allowed. So you'll need to ask them to take that off. The reason for that is with the brims and with the knot, if they hit their head on the ground or on one of the sidewalls, that knot or that brim could cause damage to their head, which we don't want. So that is the explanation that you can give. Politely ask them to take it off. Other illegal equipment, everybody has to wear a shirt underneath their jersey. We obviously reuse the jerseys. We wash them every night, but we do not want somebody just wearing jersey on skin, so they must wear some sort of shirt underneath that jersey. All the game balls, we will provide the game balls. If somebody comes and brings their own indoor soccer ball, that may be okay if both teams agree to use it, but for the most part, we will provide the game balls. Shin guards are not required, and similar to how you need to be in athletic attire, whoever is playing also needs to be in athletic attire. So they need to be wearing closed-toed shoes, no sandals or anything like that, and then they can't be wearing pants or shorts with belt loops. So that belt loops part of it kind of covers anything cargo shorts, khaki shorts, anything jeans, jean shorts, anything that has belt loops, basically they can't wear. So they need to be in athletic attire as well. If they're not, then they can't play. Before each game, you and your partner will run a captain's meetings, and we will go over this in the in-person training, sort of how to run this captain's meeting. But you will explain the basic rules, explain the timing, which we will go over here in a second. So you'll call the two teams together, explain some rules and timing. You'll do a coin toss. Essentially, what most of us will do is we'll do a 1 or a 2 behind our back. one of the teams is facing you will guess a 1 or 2. The other team is behind you so that they know you're being honest about it. Whoever wins the toss or the coin flip, whatever it is, they will have the choice of either picking their side of the court, picking that they want the ball first, and then in the second half, that will just switch. So you'll flip which team is going which way, and the other team will kick off in the second half. Indoor soccer is 5-on-5, one of which is a goalkeeper. So they must have a goalkeeper at all times, and then the other 4 will be on the court. In order to start a game, the team must have at least 3 people. So if they have less than 3, then they will have to forfeit. But if they have 3, they can start the game, and then they can add players sort of throughout the game. Timing, it is 2 20-minute halves with a 5-minute halftime. With that being said, if you are 2 minutes, 3 minutes into your halftime and both teams look like they're ready to go ahead and start the second half and get both teams on the court. That way we will stay on track and we're not wasting anybody's time. For both of the 2 20-minute halves, all you will simply do is start your clock, which we will have wristwatches for you. Start the clock, let it run until the 20 minutes is up for each half. The clock runs the entire time, so we do not need to worry about that. In the playoffs, we will have overtime, which the overtime will just be a 5-person shootout. And during the regular season, if a game ends in a tie, we will end it with a tie. The tie will go on their record. We will end it there. In the playoffs, we'll do that 5-person shootout. If after those 5 individuals take their shots and we're still tied, then we're going to go to sort of a sudden death. Each team will switch off, alternate 1 shot at a time. And if one team scores and the other does not, then that team will win. Our mercy rule, which will be in your scorecards, is 5 goals or more with 2 minutes or less remaining in the second half. Subbing on the fly, so it's a little bit different than outdoor soccer. We do allow teams to sub on the fly, and they can sub at any of these times. So if it's not on the fly, they can go between halves or after a goal, and they can substitute on the fly during a live ball. And the big note is as long as the player that's exiting the court is off before they are replaced. If that player who is coming onto the court steps on before their teammate is off the court, then we will blow the whistle, assuming the opposing team is not about to score a goal. We'll blow the whistle and we'll give an indirect kick from wherever the ball is at that point for the offended team. Last note with that is that goalkeepers are not allowed to sub on the fly, so they will only be allowed to sub at dead ball times, and only to let you know so that you do not start the play before they are situated. We have a couple of videos. I don't think you all will be able to hear the videos, but that's okay. So what you will see in this video, what happens is the team actually scores a goal, so we don't end up calling it. But this would be an example of an illegal substitution. So that player coming off the bench goes onto the court before their teammate has left. This is an example where we would blow the whistle during this play. Because Green scored, it's not the biggest deal. What I will say is that the officials in this scenario could have blown this dead because that illegal substitution happened before the goal was actually scored. So it looks like we may have missed it. It was kind of bang bang, but it's something that you all need to be on top of, need to explain in the captain's meeting so that when you do call it, they're not caught off guard by it. Yep, and that one wasn't really as much on the fly. The play was stopped. The official on the left was giving a indirect kick at that point. So that one was not on the fly, but that is a perfectly legal substitution because the ball was dead. Okay, getting down to the final things for this module. The doors must be shut around the entire court while play is going on. And this is to ensure player safety. If a door is unlocked or not completely shut, somebody could go and fall into the door, Those edges, when it's not closed, can get sharp, so people can get cut, hit their head. We can have all sorts of issues. So it is our job to make sure that our players are safe and that the court and the area that they're playing in is safe as well. So just make sure that all the doors are shut. We have a video to show you it happens. Luckily, nobody gets hurt, but it is an example of how easy the doors can open and cause problems if they're not properly shut. So you will see there, no harm, no foul on that one because nobody got hurt. But if somebody was running full speed and ran into that door, then we could probably have some issues. All right, goalkeeper restrictions. So the goalkeeper must keep can only use his or her hands inside the penalty area. And we will show you what the penalty area for indoor soccer is while we're in the in-person ones. But there is an arced line that we will see while we're out there. That is the penalty area. They must be inside of it, just like regular soccer. If they use their hands outside of that, then it's going to be an indirect kick from that point. And depending on if it was a clear goal scoring opportunity, we could also give cards for that as well. They can, just like outdoor soccer, they cannot pick up the ball if their teammate plays it back to them with their feet. If they do, it'll be an indirect kick from the spot where they picked it up. And we'll go over indirect and direct kicks in a minute here in the next module. Once the goalkeeper picks up the ball, they have 10 seconds to then play the ball. They're not allowed to punt or drop kick the ball. They can place it on the ground and kick it. They can roll it. They can throw it. The big note with that is this bottom thing here. They may not throw the ball over midcourt in the air. They can roll it over midcourt. They can bounce it off a wall, off the ground, but they cannot throw it. And we will see in the next video an example of somebody throwing it over the midline, which is against the rules. And they do blow a whistle, so it is a good call. But we can look at that. Kind of hard to see the arced line in this, but that goalkeeper was within the arced line. So our officials did a good job of not blowing their whistle. It was the green team who took a shot. Goalkeeper plays for the yellow team, so they were all good to go there. That will conclude module 1 of the indoor soccer training. Go ahead, take the quick quiz, and come on back for module 2.